I will start by recognizing or introducing our trustees. And so I want to start with our incumbents, and I'm going to start by going alphabetically. However, I am going to do one additional recognition that was missed in our last meeting. So I'm going to start by Naomi Bailey, incumbent. And just before I introduce everybody else, this isn't just for Naomi. During our last meeting, we had the opportunity to recognize all of our trustees. We have an official administrative procedure in this district that we recognize both all the trustees that served, whether they're leaving or coming back, with either a certificate or a pin, et cetera, depending on their length of service. And Naomi was not with us in person. So I just want to take a moment to thank Naomi for her time with our board in the last term. And so thank you very much, Naomi. We wanted to make sure that you. And so we have three other additional incumbents to introduce this evening. So we have Tanya Brzovich, right? We have Greg Keller, to my left, and we have Charlene McKay, also to my right. And then our newly elected trustees, again in alphabetical order, are Leanne Lee, to my right, Chantal Morvay, to my left, Leanna Pellegrin, to the right, Mark Robinson, and Tom Rokeby. And this evening, also we have our superintendent, Mr. Scott Saywell. Our deputy superintendent, Laura Tate, does send her regrets. She was not feeling well, and so she's not here with us this evening. We have our executive director of communications, privacy, and community engagement, Dale Burgos, in the back, and Karen Matthews, our manager of administrative services. And then we have families. And so let me just say thank you very much in advance for giving up the time of your loved ones. I think for the incumbents, you know how much time that is, and you're going to quickly get to realize that and what a commitment. So thank you in advance on behalf of the district for donating their time to us. It's very meaningful. So with respect to the oath of office, which is our next item, is to bring our trustees officially in pursuant to Section 50 of the School Act. A person elected or appointed to office must make a prescribed oath of office within 45 days after the declaration of election of the appointment. At this time, trustees will swear the oath of office. And in this district, we also have a trustee code of conduct that at this time, at the same time as swearing the oath of office, trustees also signed the code of conduct as well, which is a guidance document on how everyone works together in a positive way. And so I, as the Secretary Treasurer under the Evidence Act, have the statutory authority and general privilege to be able to swear everyone in. So I'm just going to come over here to read the oath. And the way that we do this is we do actually ask trustees to all do it at the same time. So we're out of here before 8, or we'll have one that's going to take. The other thing about swearing an oath is that we can either swear an oath or we can affirm. So I'm going to ask the trustees in just a moment, and trustees-elect in just a moment, to stand, and then I'm going to say I, and they're going to say their names, and they can either swear or they can solemnly affirm, and then repeat the rest of what I'm going to say here, which represents the oath of office required by the School Act. So, with pleasure, if I could get it from. So, if I could please ask you to, after the word I, say your name. So I,
Naomi Bailey.
then you're going to solemnly swear or affirm. Do solemnly swear.
Do swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That.
I'll read it, then you can repeat back to me. I am qualified to hold office as a trustee in the Nanaimo Lady Smith Public School District, and it's also in front of everyone. I apologize for that.
That I am qualified to trustee in the Nanaimo Lady Smith Public School District and meet the qualification requirements
set out in the School Act.
And I have not, by myself or any other person, knowingly contravened the school act respecting vote buying, intimidation, or other election offenses in relation to my election as a trustee.
I have not been myself or any person knowingly contravening the school act respecting vote buying, intimidation, or other election offenses in relation to my election as a trustee.
I will abide by the school act and I will faithfully perform the duties of my office and will not allow any private interest to influence my conduct in public matters.
I will abide by the school act and will faithfully perform my duties of my office and will not allow any private interest to influence my conduct in public matters.
I will comply with the requirements of the school act that relate to conflict of interest, and in particular, I will comply with the requirements related to the disclosure of pecuniary and indirect pecuniary interest in a matter.
I will comply with the requirements of the school act that relate to conflict of interest, and in particular, I will comply with the requirements relating to disclosure of pecuniary and indirect pecuniary interest in a matter.
Thank you very much. And so now I'm going to come to each individual and I'm going to sign the oath along with you as a witness, as well as the code of conduct. So congratulations to everyone for being sworn in. You're now officially trustees for the Nanaimo Ladysmith Board of Education. And I can speak on behalf of senior team to say how happy and thankful we are for everyone here and the time they're going to put in. And it's a real pleasure now just to ask Joan Brown, the Chief Administrative Officer of Nanaimo, to come and say a few words to the board on behalf of SFN Nanaimo First Nation.
Okay, I appreciate how humbling this is. Really, truly humbled and very honored to welcome you to Nanaimo territory. I'm careful that the ancestors are going to be with you and protect you and guide you in all your sacred work that you do from here in the next 4 years. So powerful for me to witness the blanketing ceremony and now this signing, another step in that sacred ceremony. That transformation, when you stepped off that blanket, is profound. How it's bringing you together in such a good way, and the energy is just filling this room. I'm thanking each and every one of you for your wisdom, your passion, and your commitment. Some people always think that people vote you in, but rather it's you're selected for your gifts, your lived experience, what you have to offer, what we believe is our most sacred, the most precious, the young people. How powerful is that to really think more deeply about how we can help, how we can make a difference, and to come together with one heart and one mind. Who else but yourselves? Who else but yourselves? It's not easy. Nobody said it would be. And if it was easy, anybody would do it. But look at you, each and every one of you are just trembling inside thinking about what's ahead for this group of leaders. The bar is set very high. But in my heart, my mind, I know you're going to bring it up to that next one. To affect change, to be that difference in everybody that touches the sacred grounds, begins with you. How powerful is that? Just so humble and wishing you well. And again, welcome you and so grateful that Nanaimo is able to say that we walk with you. We walk with you with all our heart and all our strength. Love you with all my heart. We thank your family They know that they couldn't be here without you supporting them. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Beitzak, Garcia, Mencia, Beitzak.
Thanks, Joan. So the next item on the agenda is a weird one that's just stuck around in our policy from time past. So we might change this policy. So when everyone's reelected next time, you might not see this. But our policy actually says that at this time in the inaugural meeting, I read the returns. And so I'm going to do it in alphabetical order. And so we have Trustee Bailey, 10,395. We have Trustee Berzovich, 10,001. We have Trustee Keller, 8,981. We have Trustee Lee, 6,951. We have Trustee McKay, 8,761. We have Trustee Morvay, 6,675. Trustee Pellegrin, 8,028. Trustee Robinson, 7,229, and Trustee Rokeby, 6,450. So that odd piece of business that does exist in our policy still, but so those are all the elected and sworn in trustees. So congratulations again. So my last piece of business in running the meeting is now to go through the election of the chairperson. So what this is going to look like is I'm going to call for nominations, and then nominations are going to come to me. I will read the nominations, and the individuals will determine whether they accept that nomination or not. If there is a single nomination, then the individual will be declared elected if they've accepted, and then take the chair, and then the rest of the elections will happen under the chair who's elected. If there's more than one nomination that's accepted, we will have an election that's a private ballot. And so what will happen is everyone will be given a piece of paper to indicate the vote on. We will collect the votes with our scrutineers, Mr. Burgos and Mr. Saywell, who will come back and report the outcome to me, at which time I will declare the chair if indeed we're not resulting in a tie. And then that's going to be the process, except for it'll be the chair guiding that process after the chair is elected. The one thing I also do want to point out is in the last session, those who were present would have seen that individuals motivated their nominations. And that is actually not something that we normally do. And it was a mistake on my part. In the last election, rookie error. And so we take and the process is excuse me, to determine who's nominated, and then see if they're interested, and then we're going to go to the vote. And so that is the way that the process works. And so so I'm going to ask at this table if there's any nominations for chair. Trustee Robinson.
I duly nominate Trustee Greg Keller for the position of chairperson.
Thank you. Trustee Keller, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there any other nominations for chair? Second call, is there any other nominations for chair? And third call, is there any other nominations for chair? Seeing none, I declare that Trustee Keller is duly elected chair of the board. Congratulations, Trustee Keller, and please come and take the seat. Perhaps. Can I take your chair? Can we move down?
Oh, sorry, Greg.
And Karen has a script. Oh, perfect. It's going to ask. Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone. So we'll continue on with the election for the vice chairperson of the board. I'll now call for nominations for the position of vice chairperson of the board. Do we have any nominations? Trustee Morvay, I'm sorry, it's going to take me a minute.
I'd like to nominate Charlene McCabe for this.
Thank you. Charlene McKay, trustee McKay, do you accept the nomination? Thank you. I'll call for nominations for the position of vice chairperson for the board for a second time. Any further nominations? And I'll call for nominations for the position of vice chairperson of the board for a third time. Being no further nominations for the position of vice chairperson of the board, nominations are closed and trustee McKay will be declared the vice chairperson of the board by acclamation. Okay. Do you want to give a bit of background on the committee for the sake of the family? Doesn't too? Okay, good idea. So moving on to business committee. So for those in the room in families here, the business committee typically deals with things like our budget, long range facilities plan, our environmental stewardship and action plan. Mark, you might have to fill me in a little bit on that, but essentially that's one of our two standing committees. So I'll start by calling for nominations for the position of chairperson of the business committee. Any nominations for business committee? Trustee. Trustee Burzovich, do you accept the nomination?
I do.
Thank you. Call for nominations for the position of chairperson of the business committee for a second time. I call for nominations for the position of chairperson of the business committee for a third time. Being no further nominations for the position of chairperson of the business committee, nominations are closed and trustee Burzovich will be declared the chairperson of the business committee by acclamation. Thank you. So moving on to the the business committee vice chairperson. I'll now call for nominations for the position of vice chairperson of the business committee. Trustee Rokeby.
I'd like to nominate trustee Lee, the position of business vice chair.
Trustee Lee, do you accept that position?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Or nomination, I should say. Thank you. I'll call for nominations for the position of vice chairperson of the business committee for a second time. Sorry, trustee Brissett.
Trustee Robinson?
Trustee
Nominate
Robinson,
Trustee Robinson.
do you accept the nomination?
I do not.
Okay.
I'll call for nominations for the position of vice chairperson of the business committee for a third time. I don't see any, so that's being no further nominations for the position of vice chairperson of the business committee, nominations are closed and trustee Burzovich will be declared, or sorry, trustee Lee. Thank you. I gotta write this down. Will be declared the vice chairperson of the business committee by acclamation. Congratulations. Moving on to education committee. So education committee, for those in the room in attendance here, is about, I say it's about learning. It's about learning how we're implementing our strategic plan. It's about learning what we're doing across the districts to support students. It's one of the two standing committees. I'll now call for for nominations for the position of chairperson of the education committee. I'm just getting his first name, so I said Mark.
I nominate trustee Natalie Bailey for the position of chair of the change committee.
Trustee Bailey, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Thank you, trustee Bailey. I'll call for nominations for the position of chairperson of the education committee for a second time. I'll call for nominations for the position of chairperson of the education committee for a third time. Being no further nominations for the position of chairperson of the education committee, nominations are closed And trustee Bailey will be declared chairperson of the Education Committee by acclamation. Congratulations. Trustee Bailey. Moving on to election of the Education Committee Vice Chairperson. I'll now call for nominations for the position of Vice Chairperson of the Education Committee. I see two hands. Sorry.
I nominate trustee Pelgrim.
Trustee Pelgrim, do you accept the nomination? Do you want a minute?
It's a good way to learn. Good person to learn with. Okay.
Okay, I'll accept that.
Yeah. That's fine.
And trustee Rokeby.
I was going to nominate trustee Morvay for the vice chair of the education committee.
Okay, and trustee Morvay, do you accept the nomination?
Yeah, I'll accept it.
So that means we will have an election. So,
Yes, was my favorite.
So again, Mr. Burgos is going to hand out ballots to each trustee. And please write the name of either trustee Pellegrin or trustee Morvay. And then Mr. Burgos is going to come and collect them in ballot box, and trustee Mr. Burgos and Mr. Staywell will go and count the ballots in the room and then come report to the chair on the majority.
okay, so I'll announce the results. Congratulations, trustee Morvay. So we do need a motion to destroy the ballots. So do we have a trustee willing to make a motion? Trustee, okay.
I make a motion to destroy the ballots for the vice chair of the education committee.
We have a seconder. Trustee Rokeby. All in favor? Approved. It's nice to see people actually in the room to raise their hands. Okay, so moving on to the election of the BCSTA Provincial Council. So essentially, the role here, as I understand it, is to represent the board in emergent matters in attending the provincial council meetings. And Mr. Walsh, if you think anything should be added to help trustees understand the role, but
Sure. If I may, yeah. So education loves its acronyms. So the British Columbia School Trustees Association, or otherwise the BCSTA. Yep, please BCSTA.
okay. Sorry.
Yeah, is the group that is all 60 school districts in the province combined to make up this group. That's a group that advocates on behalf of school boards, typically with the Ministry of Education, but for a variety of other things. So if this board is particularly interested in more money for facilities or more money for mental health, not only will this board often advocate directly to the ministry or the appropriate people, it's the BCSTA as the provincial voice for school trustees and for school boards. And so this role is that this whole board will be going to the annual general meeting and will be voting on behalf of the district. This role is to go and represent the district on the kind of emergent items that happen at what's called provincial council. And before they do that, though, they do come back and they do bring those items to the board to make sure that they're representing what the board is actually interested position at that council.
So thank you, Mr. Walsh. So I'll now call for nominations for the BCSTA provincial councillor. Do I have any nominations? Trustee, okay. I'm just gonna. Trustee Rokeby, do you accept the nomination?
Yeah, I can actually accommodate the travel.
Thank you. I'll call for nominations for the position of BCSTA provincial councillor for a second time. Once. I'll call for nominations for the position of BC STA Provincial Councillor for a third time. Trustee McKay.
I nominate trustee Lee for provincial council.
Trustee Lee, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. So we'll go to a vote. Drum roll. Congratulations, Trustee Lee. And can I please have a motion to destroy the ballots? Trustee McKay,
I make a motion to destroy the BCSTA provincial council representative ballots.
thank you. Do I have a seconder? Trustee Allegren, thank you. All in favor? Carried, thank you. So moving on to item 12, election of the BCSTA Provincial Council alternate representative. Yes, just a moment, please. I'll now call for nominations for the position of BCSTA Provincial Council alternate. Trustee Burzavik. Trustee Rokeby, do you accept the nomination?
No, I don't.
Okay. I will call for nominations for the position of BCSTA Provincial Council alternate for a second time. Anyone? I call for nominations for the position of BCSTA Provincial Councillor alternate for a third time. Trustee Burzavik. Trustee McKay, do you accept the nomination?
I do.
Thank you. I call again, or is that good? Okay. Okay. Being no further nominations for the position of BCSTA Provincial Council alternate, I don't know why that's a tongue twister, but it is. Councillor alternate nominations are closed, and Trustee McKay will be declared BCSTA Provincial Councillor alternate by acclamation. Congratulations. That brings us to item number 13 on the agenda, adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Trustee Robinson, seconded by Trustee Morvay. I am going to get your last name right, I promise. Mr. Walsh.
Just prior to adjournment though, just one couple of things. So one before the hugs and everything, or maybe after the hugs, we don't want everyone to go too far away. Again, Nanaimo Ladysmith tradition that everyone gets their picture taken. So to go up on the wall so you can do the before and after picture of how much work has happened over the last 4 years. And so it's typically it's everyone you see around the state there, and it'll be mounted on that wall. And then there's Karen, what do we have?
Some snacks.
Okay.
Great. Perfect. We still need to vote on adjournment. Is everyone in favor? Didn't think we have a problem there. Thank you very much, everyone. Congratulations.